another episode here for the FunkedPod Mindful Media and Communication. And today, as you can see, we're talking a little bit about mental health because we haven't talked about it for a while, I think. And I figured, it's something that needs to be talked about more often still, I think, because there's still so much stigma to it, to mental health. So today, a little bit of a mental health breakdown, how the media influences mental health and how the media portrays mental health. So in particular, trying to shed some light on that silent struggle that is depression. Okay. So I'm going to try to explore a little bit with you today how the depression might verbalize itself here and there, how it can be identified from a media standpoint. I will explain what I mean by that, and how maybe even to communicate with people that have it, as someone who has it. But mostly how the media influences depression in certain aspects, of course. Okay. So we're going to try to delve into the portrayal of mental health in the media, for example, and its impact on public perception and communication in general. Okay. As you're used to by now, I'm going to present you with 5 theories, because I think that's just the sweet spot for around 20-25 minutes per episode. And as always, I will use a few theories that you already know, that we talked about in previous podcasts. I think I have 3 theories that we talked about already. And I'm going to add 1 or 2 new ones to just show that there are more different kinds of theories that will also affect how we understand certain topics. Okay. Now, why mental health? Or if you're asking why I'm into that or why I want to talk about, well, A, I think it's very important, obviously. B, I just see so many people, especially in Thailand, that struggle, that don't get the help they need. And I think it's mostly, not mostly, but it's partly also because of the way the media talks about depression. As a mental health, I think also especially here in Thailand, probably in Asia, but I can only speak for Thailand, is it's getting better. The awareness is getting better, but it's still not great, right? So if someone suffers from depression, for example, a go-to thing to say is okay, you should go more to the temple, you should pray more, you should make more merit so that it goes away, for example, right? If that doesn't help, then usually, and I've seen it firsthand, you get sent to a hospital. Okay, I guess you have to talk to an expert. And I've been there with someone. Okay, so I'm not making this up. At a big, famous, expensive hospital in Bangkok, and it went like this. Hey, okay, you walk into that mental part of the hospital, that mental health part, whatever that's called, right? Which is already weird because you're okay, am I in the crazy department now? Okay, Then they make you fill out crazy forms, of course, it's always in a hospital, do you have any mental health, whatever, in your family, and so on. And then they ask you to come inside to see a doctor, right? That consultation took, and I'm not kidding, somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, not more. Okay, between 5 and 10 minutes, and the doctor prescribed anti-depression medicine. Here, take those pills, gonna make you feel better. 5 to 10 minutes to figure out, oh yeah, you're depressed, here, take those pills. It made me so mad. You cannot imagine how mad that made me. Ridiculous. We just drug you the F out, so you don't feel it anymore. So that's why I think we need to talk more about mental health. Okay, and I'm, as you know, I'm the media professor, so I'm going to put the media lens on it, obviously. Okay, so let's talk about how the media portrays depression. Okay, one theory I talk about all the time. I'm going to try to not talk about it next episode, but it just makes so much sense in this case, is of course the framing theory. How the media portrays depression. What frame does the media put on depression? All right, how does it look like? So, as you know, framing theory shapes audience perception. Right, we put a frame onto a topic and leave the rest that's not in the frame away. Okay, so the portrayal of depression in film, TV shows, news stories influences significantly public understanding and attitudes, of course. And so the media often frames depression in ways that can either destigmatize it or perpetuate it, right? The misconceptions. So for instance, as you might remember, shows like 13 Reasons Why have been criticized for the portrayal of depression and suicide, like potentially, depends how you understand, of course, how you read the text, how you read, and text is any kind of media, like how you read, watch 13 Reasons Why and how you understood it. But it might have romanticized or maybe even misrepresented the issue of suicide a little bit, okay? Again, depends on the point of view, of course. So media frames can either highlight the struggle and need for empathy, or conversely, depict individuals with depression as like weak or overly dramatic. Like, cut it out. Like, don't always be depressed. Why are you always depressed? Come on. You're feeling depressed? Do some sports. Hate Joe Rogan. And I'm not hating on it because obviously endorphins, dopamines via sports. I'm just exaggerating with the example right now, okay? Okay, so, but analyzing the frames help us to understand like societal attitude towards mental health, I think, and the importance of accurate and empathetic representation, okay? So if the media would portray stories of the reality of living with depression, media could like contribute to like a more nuanced and more supportive discourse in the public, I think. Thing is, as we all know, that doesn't sell. Either you go like for drama, or you go for like cut it out, but for like something more extreme. There's no like, oh, depression. Sometimes this person feels completely normal and has a normal life and a normal day and a normal week, normal 2 weeks, normal month, and then it hits, for example, right? So that doesn't sell. So that's a problem here. Okay, so framing, like what frame do we put on the topic? And in the media regard, usually media puts like a frame on any topic, such as depression, that increases sales, clicks, views, and so on. Okay? And if you continue that with like on the path using theories that we already know, we know the cultivation theory as well. Right? The cultivation theory observes long-term effects of media depictions. Okay? So how does prolonged exposure to media affect viewers' perceptions of reality? So regular exposure to negative or maybe just inaccurate portrayals of depression can, of course, shape public attitude and contribute to the stigma, right? If you see it over and over again on like your soap operas, what we call in Thailand lakons, or in soap operas, for example, in movies even, or in news shows, or on YouTube, on Facebook live streams and whatnot, because they're still big here in Thailand. Like if you see like those stereotypes being portrayed over and over and over and over again, this will shape your perception. So conversely, of course, positive and realistic portrayals could foster understanding and empathy. But again, now back to the framing theory, how many content creators, be that TV, media, radio, YouTube content creators, how many content creators want to portray the sometimes boring real life rather than the crazy dramatic life, right? But let me give you examples that you might even know. Like, for example, the character of like BoJack Horseman, right? In the animated series, BoJack Horseman provides like a very complex and often accurate like depiction of depression, which has been praised for raising awareness. You might be aware, like, right? And it promotes empathy for it. So understanding these effects is crucial for promoting like mental health awareness, and effective communication, right? So that shows that media has the power to either perpetuate harmful stereotypes or promote like a more supportive and informed perspective. And I just read a research, because I prepared for this. I just read a research that came out a few years ago already. I just read it now though, that analyzed Winnie the Pooh cartoons, comics, and the characters, and showcase that like basically all those characters have certain different kind of mental health issues. So already back then, the creator wanted to showcase that it's normal to suffer from like mental health struggles, and that it's nothing to be ashamed of, basically, right? So the media has the power to educate, to help people, the audience, understand certain topics if it chooses to. Question again is, what sells? What do we go for? Educating the people, the audience, quick money, clicks. You be the judge, okay? Okay, let me now introduce like the new theory as I promised. So I'm slowing down again, as always. I try at least. This theory is called social penetration theory. Okay, SPT, social penetration theory. It's all about like communicating personal struggles in our specific example, okay? So this theory explains how relationships develop through what we call self-disclosure, okay? So communicating about depression requires navigating like all the layers of self-disclosure, from like those very superficial interactions that you have all the time to deeper, more personal conversations that of course are then more important, if you will, but take longer to establish, of course. That's why creating safe spaces for individuals to share their experiences and seek support is so essential, okay? So for instance, social media platforms like Twitter, I hate saying X, Reddit, and so on, could offer communities where people feel safe-ish to discuss their mental health struggles like openly, okay? So this theory, this of self-disclosure, if you will, right, social penetration theory, helps to understand the importance of building trust and fostering this open communication to support those with depression, of course. So this gradual process of self-disclosure can help build like deeper connections and hopefully provide like much needed emotional support. I think it goes without saying, I say it anyways, this is not an easy process, right? The self-disclosure, the social penetration theory, like disclosing yourself to more people to open up about it, is of course not easy. And hence, those safe spaces are very, very, very important. Spaces where people, if they want to, can open up. You don't have to force anything, of course, but if someone wants to open up, it's amazing to have a safe space where that person could do that, okay? So that's the social penetration theory, a self-disclosure, and then hopefully getting some support out of that. That's a long and difficult process, of course. Okay, two more. The other one that we talked about 1,000 times, but again, it fits just so well here, is of course the user gratification theory, okay? Because in this case, well, before I explain, as you know, user gratification looks at like why individuals turn to media for specific needs. Yeah, so people may use social media, online forums, and whatnot to find maybe support groups, to seek validation, to share their stories, to find community. So it's all about seeking support through the media. Okay, so that's why using gratification. So what's my use for it? What do I need it for? I'm looking for support. I'm looking for people with similar problems that went through similar stages like me, that can share some advice, maybe some tips. Okay, so platforms like forums, like social media, and of course struggle with social media because lots of hate there too, but such platforms where you can talk about your issues, your problems, your mental health, they provide like crucial support for those dealing with depression or mental health issues, offering like a space to connect, to communicate with others who hopefully understand their experiences. So communities such as our depression, like on Reddit, right, allow individuals to share their struggles and receive support from others who have faced similar challenges. Okay, so those digital spaces can be some kind of lifelines, if you will, for those seeking understanding and validation. Okay. Maybe Reddit is a better example than X/Twitter. Okay, so that's the using gratification. You use the medium to get gratification from getting support, for example, sharing your story, which hopefully also lifts some pressure from you, right? So this blanket off you like, hey, I finally told someone, and then hopefully getting some support, okay? Hey. The last one is an theory I introduced in the last podcast, so I hope you do remember that. We're talking about semiotics. Semiotics is all about studying signs and symbols, okay? And so in this case, we look at the language of depression, okay? So we're looking at like how is depression communicated? So symbols such as like, for example, dark imagery like are very common with people dealing with depression, like specific color palettes, like very metaphorical heavy language in media and art usually try to convey the experience of depression. So if we analyze those symbols, that helps us to decode, like encoding, decoding, right? That helps us to decode the message conveyed and fosters like hopefully a deeper understanding of like the emotional and the psychological aspects of depression. And for example, the use of gray and blue tones in film and other artwork even often symbolizes like sadness, despair, and so on. It helps to visually communicate those inner experiences of those struggling with depression. So if you understand those symbols that are being used, those visual cues, if you will, sometimes also linguistic cues, of course, it can help us in recognizing and hopefully then empathizing with those suffering from depression. Okay, so if you read the symbols correctly, we might be able to understand how people feel because they might not openly want to tell us. You're not going around saying like, hey, I got depression. But maybe if someone, it's like a certain body language, uses certain symbols, changes their avatar to something sad, black, whatever it might be. So maybe there are some cues that we can take away from that. Be like, hey, you okay? You want to talk? And of course, it sounds like so easy. Like, I know people are not just going to talk about it. Yeah, but at least you can be there for them, right? Even if there's nothing to talk about, just be there could already be something like a helping hand. Okay. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope you learned something from that, because I think understanding depression through the lens of those media theories provides some hopefully valuable insights into like how this mental health issue is communicated and perceived. Yeah. So I think that by promoting like accurate and empathetic portraits in the media, of course, we could contribute to like destigmatizing depression and fostering like a more supportive environment. One last time, this could be done. Are we doing that in the media? Most likely not, because it doesn't give us clicks, views, money. Maybe we should have a podcast episode on this afterwards. I'll think about that. Let me know what you think. How do you think depression should be handled in the media, with the media? How do you interact with people with depression? Do you have depression? Do you suffer from mental health issues? And how do you use the media? Does it help you? Or are you like, oh God, all those, pardon my French, idiots on Twitter have no idea, they should just shut up. Like, let me know what you think at funkitpod on socials, funkitpod@gmail.com. If you found this helpful to some extent, a like, a share is appreciated, of course. Follow too. If you're leaving a review, it would be fantastic. Until then, I hope you stay safe, take care. I do mean it. And we'll talk in the next episode. Until then, sorry.